Hi guys, and welcome to the next video, Fishing Planet video for 4th of July, and this is fish tag coordinates number 3, and this time we're looking for the trout. So we're after the historic cutthroat, Colorado golden and brown trout, and we're starting off at Rocky. You can get the cutthroat on either side, and you can get the Colorado golden on both sides, but I tend to find you get far more of them on the right hand side than the left hand side, but experiment with that, see how you get on. But you start, if you're going for the Colorado golden, you can leave your setup exactly the same as it was at the end of the last mission, because it's the revolutionary craw on the 5cm revolutionary craw 5cm on the 5g jig head on the one, and just a stop and go down the usual channel will get them. You will catch quite a lot of fish, and unfortunately you will catch some of the historic fish on the wrong lure for the mission. So in other words, you'll catch quite a few of the cutthroat on this setup, and you'll catch quite a lot of the Colorado golden on the other setup. So you just have to be prepared to do that. Yeah, it's just one of those things really. But you'll see later on, I will catch the cutthroat using this setup, and I'll also show you later on an inventory showing the keep net with a lot of Colorados, all of which were caught with the bison spinner, which is what you need to use to catch the cutthroat. So this is the first of the Colorado golden. Absolutely beautifully rendered fish. I think trout are by far and away the best rendered fish in Fishing Planet, and certainly all of the small trout are. So the Colorado golden and the Oregon red band and the cutthroat and rainbow and brown trout are all beautifully done, I think. So this is still with the revolutionary craw on the 5g jig head on the one. We've got 2 of the Colorado goldens now, and just looking to get the third. When you see the power levels go up and you've got a bit more of a fight on your hands, then you know there's a good chance that you're getting into one of the historic fish, but as I say, you don't know necessarily which. And as you can see here, although this is a historic fish, it's not caught with the bison spinner, therefore it doesn't count on the list, so you can see it hasn't clocked up. So unfortunately that's just something you have to sort of put up with, but there you go. So if you look at the presentation, I'm basically letting it sort of sit mid-water and drop as I stop and go, and I found that has always been the best sort of technique here. You can use lots of other techniques, but that seems to be the best way that I've found to catch them here. So there we go, there's the third of the historic Colorado goldens, and that ticks that one off the list. And we can move on next to the cutthroat. As you can see, I have cut out a bit of the actual catching of the fish here, and we need just one of the 5 historic cutthroats left to catch now. And you'll see after I land this fish, I'll show you how many of the Colorado Goldens, I caught on the bison spinner, which of course didn't count, which is rather annoying, but there's not a lot you can do about it. So there's the final historic Cutthroat, and that knocks that off the list. See the tag there on its back, so they all have the tag on their back. And before I move on, this is just to show you the number of historic Colorado golden trout caught with the bison spinner. So this is not the overall picture from both lures. This is just while I've been trying to catch the cutthroat with the bison, and you can see against each one it shows that it was caught with the bison spinner. Yeah, as I say, there's nothing really you can do about it. You just need to land them. You don't really even need to keep them, because you don't get any money for the historic fish at all, which again is slightly annoying, but you can't win them all. So we'll move on now to the Falcon Lake, where we're after the historic brown trout, and for this you need to use the Arrows deep spinner, and basically it's a case of, sorry, it's the Arrows deep runner. It's a case of probably speed 1 or speed 2, and just pull it through with the odd twitch every now and again. The two ways I found it best to sort of induce a bite: one is to give it a twitch with the strike button, but the other is to just sort of do a very gentle stop and go, so you just stop the reeling of the line, and that will make it bobble in the water. And that works well with all sorts of plug type baits or lures. So there's a trophy rainbow. So I'll show you the spots in a minute, but this is the spot where you get the boat dock, and you can cast really anywhere out. I find towards the right hand side I tend to get more brown trout, but you can get them anywhere, and indeed this cast, as you can see, was more towards the waterfall, and managed to get one here. So either speed 1 or speed 2, fairly constant pull in, and either use the strike key every now and again just to bobble it in the water slightly, or just stop reeling so that it starts to rise and then immediately start reeling again. And that'll just cause a little bobble, which often will, as I say, induce a take. So you can see, as I said earlier, I've sort of fast forwarded on a little bit here and got 4 of the 5 on the list on the left, and this is the final one coming in, and then I'll just show you the other 2 spots that I used, and I think I did manage to get a brown at each of them. There are 2 other very good brown trout spots. The only problem is they're slightly shallower water, and of course this is a deep runner, so it's not ideal, but there we go. That's the final part of the catching done on this mission. Quite a big one, that 4.481 historic brown trout. If you got that as a normal brown trout, you'd be pretty happy here. So that gives us all the details that we'll move on to in a minute, but that's where we were fishing from there, and fishing out to about this sort of area, and you can fish right up against the wall. This is the second spot, which I'll show you in a second, and then this is the third spot, fishing out to about here, or indeed up against this wall here. So what you want to be doing here, this is a great spot for brown trout just with a normal spinner. As I say, it's not quite so ideal with the Arrows deep runner because it does run right to the bottom, and you'll see that goes right to the bottom straight away. It doesn't mean you won't catch fish. You will catch fish with it like that, but I think it's more suited for the position number 1, and that's certainly where I caught most of the historic brown trout on this mission. I think this is an annoying little bass which you will be not plagued with, but you'll certainly catch a few because they will certainly go for the arrow's deep run up. And then this is the third spot, just to quickly show you. You can go up against that sort of rock there, or better with the runner is to go sort of straight out along this line. This is a fantastic spot for brown trout and rainbow trout here, and as you can see again, because it's shallower water, it's not ideal, and you can see just to get a bit of movement I'm using the strike button every now and again. But if you want to, you could just concentrate on the first spot from where the boat dock is, and you will catch them all from there in a reasonable time, probably real time, I would think, half an hour, something like that. So shouldn't take too long to get your 5 brown trout here. So nothing from this run, but just wanted to show you that was one of the possibilities. As I say, it's not ideal for the arrow's deep runner because it's more shallow water, but at least you've got that as an option if you want to. And again, you will catch the historic rainbow here as well. So, and of course that won't count for anything because you're not using the correct jig. So you can see at the bottom now we're going to do the final part, which is the canoe bit, just to save you the time if you don't want to look for it. This is where you want to be. The log or the bridge is just down here, so you want to spawn at that point. You can see I got to it with the boat because I tootled around to find the canoe. I'd forgotten where it was from 2 years ago, and it's actually down this little channel on the other side of the bridge. So it's just a case of, once again, doing the usual thing like we did before and trying to hit it. And as you'll see, I tried several times after this with this Zeus rod and the arrows deep runner, which is what we've been using, of course, and didn't have any joy. It very often will look as though it's caught on something because the image on the right hand top corner where the image for spinning appears, immediately you cast, it disappears. I think you can probably see it in this one like that, and it looks like you've actually hooked something, but you haven't. So after a few goes trying like this, I actually decided to change my tactic. So you'll see, as I say, had a couple more goes just trying to hit somewhere around the canoe, and again that looks as though it's hooked but it hasn't actually. So in the end I decided to change my tactic, and I think from now on wherever possible I will use the other rod for this. And again, that looks like it's hooked, but it hasn't done. So one more go with the Zeus. As I said in the previous video, I have a recollection that at one point it was easier to use the float rig to do this part of each mission. But it certainly seems that maybe the arrow's deep runner doesn't catch on well enough to whatever. So as you can see, after quite a lot of time, well, 2 minutes, messing around with the arrow's deep runner, I decided to change tactic. and just went back to the jig winner. Doesn't seem to matter what it's got on it, but as you'll see, without any messing around, straight away we get a hook. So that's just a little tip. May or may not work for you, but hopefully it will. And if you're having problems catching the relic chest. So there we go, guys. That's the third fish tag coordinates mission done. And yeah, that's the Falcon sunken canoe finished. And we get the shard of the sword again, part 3. And next we'll be moving on to Narin, Quanchkin, Everglades and St. Croix. So I will see you there, guys, and please like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Look forward to seeing you in the next video.